itself. Endless sunshine, ocean views, palm trees and possibility. A place where ambition met opportunity beneath perpetually blue skies. For generations, the Golden State's southern half represented the pinnacle of American prosperity, the place you moved when you made it. That dream is collapsing. Not slowly, not in isolated pockets. It is spreading systematically, measurably across areas that were supposed to be immune to what is happening in the rest of California. Here are the numbers that frame what is coming. According to the California Association of Realtors, December 2025 data, the statewide median home price dipped to $880, down 1.2% from December 2024. The sales to list price ratio fell to 97. 9%, meaning homes are now selling below asking price on average across the state. According to Redfin's January 2026 analysis, 1 in 5 California listings carried a price reduction the highest level since 2019. With those statewide numbers high, what is actually happening? The collapse is not uniform. It is spreading from the fire zones, to the insurance deserts, to the exurbs that over-leveraged on pandemic demand, to the coastal communities where even the wealthy are starting to question whether California is worth what it costs. Today, Discover the Estates reveals the 8 Southern California areas where the housing collapse is spreading and why the contagion is accelerating. Area number 8, Riverside and San Bernardino counties, the Inland Empire breaks. The Inland Empire was California's safety valve. When Los Angeles and Orange County priced out working families, they moved east to Riverside, to San Bernardino, to the promise that you could still afford a house, a yard, a version of the California dream, even if it meant a brutal commute through 100-degree heat. That promise is breaking under the weight of its own math, according to Redfin's analysis cited by multiple Southern California housing reports. Riverside follows Stockton as California's second hardest hit city for price reductions, with nearly 24% of homes for sale seeing a price cut. Home values have grown by only 8% year over year, and the city carries an overvaluation rate of 18. 5%, meaning current prices sit nearly 20% above what local economic fundamentals can support. The value-to-income ratio in Riverside sits at 6, more than double the traditional 3-to-1 affordability threshold. Monthly payments on mid-tier Inland Empire homes increased 74% between January 2020 and September 2025, while average hourly wages grew just 25%. The math no longer works, and buyers have noticed. According to CalMatter's December 2025 analysis, California's housing market has become stuck in molasses with a slowdown in new listings, stagnant sales, and an uptick in deals canceled at the last minute. That description applies to the entire state, but it hits the Inland Empire hardest. The buyers who once absorbed every new tract home developed, the working families stretching to afford their first purchase, have been priced out even here. The lock-in effect compounds the problem. According to housing analysts cited across multiple California reports, a typical California borrower would pay an extra $675 every month if they were to take on the same mortgage at current rates versus the sub 4% rates locked in during the pandemic. In the Inland Empire, where homeowners refinanced aggressively during the low-rate era, that lock-in has frozen inventory. Sellers won't sell, buyers can't afford current prices, and the market has seized. New home listings in Riverside fell by double digits year over year. According to Redfin data, part of a broader California trend where inventory suppression is no longer supporting prices. It is exposing the fact that demand has collapsed beneath them. The Inland Empire's collapse is spreading because the affordability escape valve that justified its existence has closed. When even the affordable option becomes unaffordable, the entire regional housing ecosystem breaks down. Area number 7, Orange County exurbs when commuter towns lose their commuters. Orange County built its exurban expansion on a specific calculation. You could live in Lake Forest, in Mission Viejo, in Rancho Santa Margarita, pay less than coastal Orange County, accept a longer commute, and still participate in the California prosperity that the county represented. That calculation has reversed. According to Chapman University's housing market analysis and broader Southern California data, Orange County's housing market experienced significant shifts in 2025. The remote work reversal has been devastating simple recognition that paying $900,000 for a tract home in an exurban community makes no rational sense when the commute is back to being daily. Area number 6, Ventura County, the coastal premium no one can afford. Ventura County positioned itself as the accessible coastal California ocean views, agricultural charm, and prices that were supposed to be more reasonable than Los Angeles or Orange County to the south. The prices are no longer reasonable, and the buyers have walked away. According to Zillow data and California housing forecasts, Ventura County home values appreciated dramatically during the pandemic as remote workers sought coastal access without Los Angeles price tags. That appreciation pushed median prices well above what local incomes anchored by agriculture, military employment at Naval Base Ventura County, and regional services could sustainably support. The county's geographic position creates a unique vulnerability. It sits between the collapsing Los Angeles market to the south and Santa Barbara County's ultra-luxury market to the north, neither of which is sending buyer overflow into Ventura County the way the pandemic-era migration patterns once did. The Bay Area and Los Angeles transplants who briefly treated Ventura County as a destination have either returned to their origin cities or moved out of California entirely. According to California's housing affordability data, housing costs relative to median incomes have reached levels where more than 34% of California residents say they are considering an out-of-state move simply due to high housing costs. In Ventura County, where the median income is well below the Bay Area, but home prices ran up to near Bay Area levels, that affordability crisis is acute. The wildfire and insurance crisis adds catastrophic pressure. Ventura County has experienced major fires repeatedly: the Thomas Fire in 2017, the Woolsey Fire in 2018, and continued annual fire seasons that have made insurance either unaffordable or unavailable in many communities. When a coastal county with elevated fire risk sees insurance premiums skyrocket, while home values are already stretched beyond local incomes, the market doesn't just cool, it freezes. The collapse is spreading to Ventura County because it represents the impossible middle too expensive to be the affordable alternative once was not prestigious enough to command the premiums that Santa Barbara or Malibu still attract, and increasingly uninsurable in ways that make conventional mortgages difficult to obtain. Area number 5, San Diego, North County. When suburban prosperity hits its ceiling, San Diego's North County was a success story. Carlsbad, Encinitas, Oceanside, communities that combine coastal proximity, strong schools, master plan developments, and a quality of life that justified premium pricing. That premium is collapsing under its own weight. According to San Diego housing market data from multiple sources, North County experienced some of the most extreme pandemic-era appreciation in all of Southern California. Homes that were priced at $700,000 in 2019 reached $1 million by 2022. That 57% appreciation in 3 years was driven by a combination of Bay Area transplants, remote work migration, and the belief that San Diego's climate and lifestyle demanded unlimited premium. The buyers who drove that appreciation have stopped arriving. According to California migration data, the Bay Area to San Diego migration flow that peaked during the pandemic has slowed dramatically as remote work policies have tightened, and the cost of living advantage San Diego once offered has disappeared. A San Diego home that costs $1 million requires a household income of approximately $250,000 to afford it current mortgage rates. San Diego's median household income is nowhere near that threshold. The lock-in effect is particularly severe in North County. According to housing analysts, homeowners who refinanced into 5% during 2020 and 2021 are now facing the reality that selling means taking out a 7% mortgage on their next purchase. That $4,000 monthly difference in payment on a similar priced home creates an impossible barrier. Sellers who need to move for work or family reasons are discovering they are financially trapped. The days on market data confirms the slowdown. According to San Diego Association of Realtors data, homes in North County are sitting 60 to 90 days on market, more than triple the 20 to 25 day averages that defined the pandemic-era frenzy. Price reductions are multiplying. Seller concessions rate buydowns. Closing cost credits have returned after years of absence. The collapse is spreading to San Diego, North County, because the market that was built on Bay Area equity and remote work flexibility has lost both the economic base in Palmdale and Lancaster, cannot support the prices pandemic speculation created. According to employment and income data for these communities, the local job market is concentrated in aerospace, which has contracted, logistics, and retail industries that do not generate the $120,000 plus household income required to afford $550,000 mortgages at 7% interest rates. Santa Clarita faces a different but equally severe challenge. According to California housing data, Santa Clarita home prices reached $800,000 plus at home pricing that requires household incomes exceeding $180,000 to afford. The community's economy, while more diverse than the Antelope Valley, cannot generate that level of income and scale. The buyers who can afford Santa Clarita at current prices are increasingly choosing to buy closer to Los Angeles employment centers or choosing to leave California entirely. The collapse is spreading to Los Angeles County exurbs because the entire model except distance and discomfort in exchange for California homeownership has been broken by the combination of return to office mandates, interest rate reality, and the recognition that paying premium prices for maximum distance makes no rational sense. Area number 3 Altadena and Pacific Palisades fire zones the insurance death spiral. The January 2025 Palisades and Eden wildfires did not just destroy homes. They destroyed the insurance model that made living in fire-prone Southern California financially possible. The numbers tell a story of complete market collapse in the burn zones. According to post-fire housing data reported by multiple sources, including Avis News data team analysis, in the Palisades fire zone, the average home sale dropped from $6 million before the fires to $4 million after a 33% decrease. In the Eden fire zone affecting Altadena, the average home sale plummeted from $8 million to around $684,000, a 62% drop. The Palisades zip code, just 12 homes sold in February 2025, down 56% from a year earlier. In Altadena, 32 homes sold, down 43% year over year. The typical Altadena home sold for $2 million in February, down 8% year over year, even after the fires. 9 months after the fires, 8 in 10 Altadena residents and 9 in 10 Pacific Palisades residents had not returned home. Roughly 75% of Pacific Palisades residents and 67% of Altadena residents were still in temporary housing, with many expecting they would have to move again within months, as insurance displacement coverage ran out. A finding that shocked community advocates. 44% of homes sold in both fire zone burn scar areas were purchased by corporate entities, roughly twice the national average of corporate homeowners. Institutional capital is buying the ruins, while displaced families cannot afford to rebuild. But the fire zones are just the epicenter. The insurance crisis is spreading far beyond the burn scars. According to California Insurance Crisis Reporting, the 2025 wildfires burned 50,000 acres, and insurance payouts are estimated at $40 billion. That figure is reshaping how every major insurer views California exposure. High insurance premiums and limited availability have contributed to slower sales across high-risk zones. Statewide, not just in areas that burn, but in areas that could burn. Insurance companies reeling from wildfire costs are raising rates across California or withdrawing from writing new policies entirely. Properties in hillside neighborhoods, canyon communities, and wildland urban interface zones that have never burned are seeing insurance either become unaffordable or unavailable. And when insurance becomes unavailable, conventional mortgage financing becomes impossible. The collapse is spreading from the fire zones because the insurance model that sustained California hillside living for 70 years has been permanently broken by climate change, catastrophic losses, and insurer retreat. Areas that have never burned are being priced and insured as if they already have. Area number 2 Coastal Los Angeles Santa Monica to Redondo Beach. Coastal Los Angeles was supposed to be immune. These are the communities that define Southern California's identity: Santa Monica, Manhattan Beach, Hermosa Beach, Redondo Beach, ocean views, walkable beach towns. A lifestyle that justified paying $2 million for a modest 3-bedroom home. That immunity is being tested by a force more powerful than lifestyle appeal: mathematics. According to Los Angeles County coastal housing data, these communities experienced appreciation during the pandemic that pushed median prices into ranges that urgency that defined these markets has evaporated. The California exodus is hitting even the most desirable communities. According to statewide data, 34% of California residents say they are considering an out-of-state move due to housing costs. In coastal Los Angeles, where even one $5 million home requires $350,000 plus household income to afford at current rates, that exodus includes people who would traditionally be the core buyer base for these communities. The collapse is spreading to coastal Los Angeles because even the most desirable locations in California cannot escape the fundamental math. When prices require incomes that only 3 to 5% of the population earns, and when that 3 to 5% has employment and lifestyle options in lower cost, lower tax states, the buyer pool shrinks. And when the buyer pool shrinks in a market built on scarcity and exclusivity, the correction when it comes is measured not just in price, but in identity. Area number one, the entire Southern California, insurance desert, the uninsurable future. The most important Southern California housing story is not any single neighborhood or city. It is a condition that is spreading across every fire-adjacent community and redefining what home ownership means across the entire region. The California insurance desert. According to insurance industry data and California regulatory reporting, the increasing weather risks, along with California's restrictive regulatory policies, are pushing major insurance carriers to withdraw from the state entirely or dramatically limit new policy writing. This is not a temporary market adjustment. This is a structural retreat by the industry that makes conventional home ownership financially possible. The scale is staggering. According to insurance crisis analysis, buyers are prioritizing fire safety and insurance availability over design features, views, or school districts. Real estate agents report that insurance has become so expensive and difficult to obtain that it is now a focal point of buyer-seller negotiations, just like closing costs or contingencies. The mechanism is brutal in its clarity. When insurance becomes unavailable or unaffordable, the housing market does not just slow, it bifurcates. Homes that can be insured through conventional carriers remain financeable through conventional mortgages. Homes that cannot be insured conventionally must either find coverage through California's FAIR, Plan the Insurer of Last Resort, with limited coverage and high premiums, or be purchased for cash. When a market shifts from conventionally financed to cash only or fair plan only, it is no longer a market for the middle class or even the upper middle class. It becomes a market exclusively for institutional investors and the ultra-wealthy, exactly what the 44% corporate ownership rate in the Palisades and Altadena burn zones reveal. But the insurance desert is not limited to burn zones. It is spreading to any hillside community in Los Angeles, Orange, Ventura, or San Diego counties, any canyon or wildwood urban interface neighborhood, any community that sits in a high or very high fire severity zone as mapped by CAL FIRE, any area where brush, chaparral, or native vegetation meets residential development. According to California's statewide mapping, that description applies to hundreds of square miles and hundreds of thousands of homes across Southern California. New Jersey future analysis of climate risk to housing while focused on coastal flooding in New Jersey provides a template for understanding what is coming to Southern California. When a large percentage of homes face chronic, predictable disaster risk that insurance can no longer profitably cover, those homes do not just lose value, they lose the financial infrastructure that makes conventional ownership possible. In Southern California, 62,000 coastal homes in other states face chronic flooding by 2050, according to similar analyses. The number of Southern California homes facing chronic wildfire risk and insurance unavailability is likely far higher. The collapse is spreading across the entire Southern California insurance desert because the fundamental model that made living in fire-prone areas possible affordable. Available homeowners insurance has been permanently broken by climate change, increasing fire frequency and severity, catastrophic loss events, $40 billion in Palisades and Eaton fires alone, insurer retreat and policy non-renewals, California regulatory environment that limits insurer ability to price risk, the recognition that the risk is not temporary but permanent and accelerating. You cannot insure a home. You cannot finance it conventionally. When you cannot buyers who drove appreciation. And the insurance desert is spreading across every fire-adjacent community, making conventional homeownership financially impossible for hundreds of thousands of properties. The statewide numbers frame the magnitude. 34% of California residents are considering leaving due to housing costs. Home prices requiring incomes only 3 to 5% of the population earns. Monthly payments up 74%, while wages grew 25%. Insurance costs up 137% in a decade. The sales to list price ratio below 100% statewide. 1 in 5 listings carrying price reductions. The Southern California housing collapse is not a single event. It is a spreading condition. From the fire zones to the insurance deserts. From the exurbs to the coast. From the communities that over-leveraged on pandemic demand to the communities discovering that even prestige and ocean view cannot overcome unaffordable insurance and impossible math. The collapse is spreading because the forces driving it: climate risk, insurance retreat, affordability crisis, remote work reversal, and the simple recognition that California no longer delivers value proportional. These costs are not temporary. They are structural. They are accelerating, and they are redefining which parts of Southern California remain accessible to anyone outside the top 5% of American earners. Understanding where the collapse is spreading matters. Housing markets built on dreams eventually answer to data. And the data across Southern California is delivering the same message in 8 different areas. The dream is over for most of the people who once believed they could afford it. Thank you for watching this in-depth report from Discover the Estates. If you found this analysis valuable, leave a comment with your perspective. Share this video to spread awareness. And make sure you are subscribed so you do not miss what comes next.